Radiation alert. Radiation alert. Did you know that all cell phones emit radiation?
We have an announcement finally on whether cell phones cause cancer. It's something
that a lot of cell phone users worry about. Could your cell phone make you sick?
Researchers have been debating whether the radiation from cell phones poses any kind of a health risk.
Cell phones and the possible risk of cancer, brain cancer in particular.
Today, a new report says cell phones may raise the risk of brain cancer.
Concern surrounding harmful side effects from cell phone radiation is growing worldwide. How big of a problem is it? A potential pandemic. As of 2011, there are over 5.3 billion mobile phone users worldwide. That's over 77% of the world's population. Do you believe your cell phone is safe? Once upon a time, smoking was considered safe.
I'd walk a mile for a camel.
We all know cigarette smoking is now proven to be hazardous to your health. Do you use your cell phone 10 minutes or more per day? If so, you might be in danger. Fact: most cell phones come with a notice that says do not hold closer than 1 inch from your body. Fact: insurance companies refuse coverage to cell phone companies for claims made by consumers due to possible illnesses caused by radiation exposure from their mobile devices. Fact: in 2011, an international panel of 31 scientists representing the World Health Organization concluded that radiation from cellular telephones may be harmful to humans. Did you know studies have proven that cell phone radiation detrimentally affects the protective layers surrounding your brain?
In the summer of 2008, 58-year-old Alan Marks was diagnosed with a brain tumor.
They took out a golf ball-sized tumor. I don't think there's any question it's going to come back.
A real estate developer in California, Marks talked on his cell phone about an hour a day for 23 years.
There's no question what caused it. It was my cell phone.
The danger is real. Very real. Should you quit using your cell phone? Let's be realistic. So what can you do? What should you do? How can you protect your family? How can you protect yourself?
We have an announcement finally on whether cell phones cause cancer. It's something that could affect all of us and our children. Scientists from the World Health Organization have been reviewing studies for the last week or so. I want to bring in our senior medical correspondent, Elizabeth Cohen, who joins us live with the findings. Essentially, what did they find?
The World Health Organization says that the radiation from mobile devices like cell phones is a possible carcinogen to humans. This is a very big deal because you and I have done segments about this before. Sure. It has gone back and forth. And this is really the first time that a large group, and it doesn't get any more sort of prestigious in many ways than the WHO, to say that it's a possible carcinogen. It puts it in the company of several other kinds of things. And so I want to tell you what it is, and I think that might give people an idea of what we're talking about. It puts it in the company of things like lead is also a possible carcinogen, according to the WHO, as well as engine exhaust and chloroform. So that sort of gives you an idea of the kind of risk that we're talking about.
Right now, fears are renewed about cell phones. It's something most of us use every day and feel like we can't live without. Well, now an international health agency is saying these devices may cause cancer.
The scientists are even going so far as listing cell phones in the same category as lead, engine exhaust, and chloroform. Experts from 14 countries, including the U.S., are part of the World Health Organization. Previously, the organization said there were no health effects. However, after several studies, they claim radiation coming from your cell phone is a carcinogenic hazard.
So for years we had heard, okay, they cause cancer. The next minute we hear they don't cause cancer. This time is the first time, or this isn't the first time rather, News Channel 5 has brought this all to your attention. Contact 5 investigator Shannon Cake first told you about the possible dangers of cell phones some time ago, and she joins us tonight with new information from a doctor who brought it to our attention last year. Shannon?
Kelly, the WHO just came out with these findings nonetheless just today. We first told you about these conclusions, as you mentioned, last summer. summer. In a Contact 5 investigation, I want to take you back to last year. It was June 2010. The World Health Organization had just ruled there was no definitive link between cancer and cell phone use. But right after that, we talked to a local neurosurgeon who picked up one of his trade journals and was alarmed by what he was reading, especially with how much we all rely on cell phones.
10-year data has just come out that shows that over a long-term period, continuous exposure to radiation does increase your risk of primary brain tumors.
Hello, I'm Dr. Deborah Davis from Pittsburgh Center for Environmental Oncology, and today I want to talk to you about why we know that cell phone signals are absorbed deeply into the brain. Studies have been done that have modeled how the phone gets into the brain. They've been done by the cell phone industry, and here's what we know. When you hold a phone up to your ear, you are, of course, exposing the hearing nerve, indicated here in this model of the skull. But we also know from other studies that have been done by the cell phone industry that the phone signals are absorbed very deeply into the brain, and you see here they're absorbed much more deeply into the head of a 5-year-old than they are into the head of an adult. Now, nobody knows what this will mean for the long term, but we do understand this. Our brains control every part of our lives, our breathing, our thinking, our feeling, whether we are alive. And the long-term consequences of 9 out of 10 adults using cell phones is something nobody can tell us about at this point. But new studies from Sweden just released last week at the Royal Society by Professor Lennart Hardell, a distinguished oncologist from Sweden, have found that those who began using cell phones before age 20 have 5 times more brain cancer by the time they reach their late 20s. This is, of course, very worrisome. That is why we don't want to wait for more proof on this issue. We want to take simple precautions to reduce our exposure to cell phones while we continue to study the problem.
iPads and other devices are called tablets because they belong on tables. They are tested 20 centimeters away from that big guy that I showed you before. 20 centimeters away. They are not approved to be held in the laps of little children, although millions of kids are having them now in schools because the people involved in educational technology and those involved in public health research are not talking to one another. Because if they were, they would understand that you're giving children a 2-way microwave radiating device. And if you must give them such a device for learning purposes, put it on airplane mode so that it's not sending and receiving signals as it does otherwise. Now, this is some new modeling, again, that we've developed with colleagues in Brazil, and we can share with you how we've done it. We first start out with the MRI and create the model with 1 millimeter voxels, and this is quite a bit of work goes into creating this, and here is what it looks like after a period of 6 minutes. And that's really not as bad as it might look because you see the red area only gets partway through the eye of the adult, right? The one that we're really concerned about is this one with the young child. And this is a 3-year-old brain that we modeled. And you see that by the end of that 6-minute call, the peak radiation, yellow and red, is getting all the way into almost both eyes. And again, this is one call, and it's not going to kill anybody. It may not cause any biological effect whatsoever for 1 call or 2 calls or 3 calls. But the question is, what's the cumulative impact of this kind of exposure? How do we evaluate it? And I want to show you an example of some of the work that we are doing now that I'm releasing here for the first time. And this is a modeled microwave radiation dose of a 6-year-old with greater levels to the frontal and temporal lobes, eyes and cheek. And watch this here. Now, yellow, white, and red are the hottest, all right? And if you look carefully, you will see it's going into the eye, the nose. Do it again, just so you'll get to see it. And partly into the brainstem. Now, that's just showing you that there's going to be some exposure.
Samantala, sa mga mahihilig mag-gadget dyan, lalo po kayong mga magulang na hinahayaang mag-gadget ang inyong mga malilit na anak, makinig po tayo sa balitang ito. Dahil daw sa sobrang pagkababad sa paggamit ng gadget, isang batang babae ang nagka-seizure at animoy na stroke. Nakatutok si JP Soriano.
Oops, no, 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 I told you no.
Hindi na makahirit sa paggamit ng tablet ang 6 na taong gulang na bunso ni Ikon. Natroma na raw kasi si Ikon matapos daw biglang manghina, bumagsak sa lapag at makaranas ng sintomas ng stroke ang anak. Ang dahilan daw matapos ang check-up dahil sa sobra-sobrang paggamit ng gadget.
Naku po, siya, lalo na po ng bakasyon, siguro po gigising siya ng around 7 to 8 a.m. No breakfast, iPad first. Yun po. Tapos po, mag-stop lang siya para kumain, maligo, and then iPad ulit. Until 2 a.m.
Pinagsisisihan daw ni Ikon kung bakit niya pinayagang wantusawa na gumamit ng gadget ng anak. Nitong 1 linggo, bigla na lang daw nagsisigaw ang kanyang anak matapos daw hindi maigalaw ang braso at hindi makatayo.
Mami, yung arm ko para pa rin jelly, oh. Ganun siya ng ganun. Ay, because nakita ko yung lips niya, ganun. Tapos po, kung magsalta siya pa, Mami, look mo yung arm ko parang jelly. Sabi ko, la, hindi naman po siya bulol. Kasi po, maayos naman po siya magsalita. Eh di ako po kinabahan na.
Naisugod daw sa ospital ang anak. Dumaan daw sa iba't ibang uri ng tests at wala namang nakitang pilay o anumang injury. Tinanong daw ng pedia-neurologist kung madalas bang gumamit ng gadget ang anak.
Sinabi po sa amin na focal seizure. Hindi ko po talaga inisip na magiging cause ng sakit ang paggamit nila ng gadgets.
Ang seizures, ayon sa mga nakausap naming doktor, ay abnormal electrical disturbance sa utak. Ang focal seizure ay nangyayari raw kapag ang electrical activity ay limitado sa isang bahagi ng utak. Ibinahagi ni Ikon ang nangyari sa anak sa social media upang makatulong daw sa ibang magulang. Mabilis itong naging viral.
Bawal na gumamit ng gadgets. Ito ang bagong batas sa bahay nila Catherine matapos umanong magka-seizure ang anak dahil sa labis na paggamit ng gadgets. Kwento ni Catherine, inaabot na rin daw ang anak ng madaling araw sa kakagamit ng gadget. Isang gabi, habang natutulog, nakita ng kapatid ni Kat na bigla na lang nanginig ang kapatid at tumirik ang mga mata.
Tumagal po ng 3 minutes yon, yung panginginig niya na yon. Tapos humaka po siya sa akin. Sabi niya, ate tulong.
Dumaan din sa electroencephalogram o EEG para masukat ang brain electrical activity niya. Lumabas sa test na normal naman ito. Sinabi rin ng kanyang ina na wala naman silang lahi ng epilepsy. Pero ang sabi sa kanila ng mga doktor,
yun lang po ang dahilan niya, gadget. Kasi yung lights ng gadget saka yung radiation, yun daw po ang malala eh.
Agad nag-post sa social media ang kapatid ni Kat tungkol sa nangyari. Hindi daw ito ang unang post sa social media na itinuturong dahilan sa seizure ay ang labis na paggamit ng gadget.
For years, we have heard of a possible link between cell phone use and cancer. Well, now this week, researchers here in Baltimore say the evidence is clear and children are more at risk. WJZ's live Amy Yensi with more on these disturbing findings. Amy?
And Denise, the studies just don't tie it to cancer. It also ties it to a slew of health issues. That's why experts are now saying expecting mothers need to be extra careful. Cell phones are part of our everyday lives and a cause for concern for researchers who see them as a health risk, especially for infants and children.
The weight of the evidence is clear. Cell phones do cause brain cancer.
Dr. Deborah Davis says the young brain absorbs twice as much radiation as an adult. Doctors and scientists from across the country taking on this issue during a pediatric conference at the Baltimore Convention Center. Panelists also finding a connection between exposure to cell phone radiation and other health issues.
There's a correlation between cell phone use in pregnancy and behavioral problems in their children.
These devices are really stressing and straining our family relationships, because the average mom or dad will check their phone 60 to 110 times a day.
Doctors say the infant brain, even while in the womb, is especially vulnerable.
Keep the phone away from the abdomen, especially toward the end of pregnancy.
Experts say holding your phone even a few inches away can lower risk. They recommend using headsets, and when you're not on your phone, keep it as far away from you as possible.
So we're getting like a triple, quadruple whammy between
the biological effects, the psychological effects, and the brainwave effects.
Effects that may not be completely avoidable in a high-tech work world.
And some of the doctors say the U.S. is lagging behind other countries throughout the world when it comes to research and prevention. Reporting live, Amy Yensi, WJZ Eyewitness News. Back to you, Denise.
All right, thank you, Amy. The Environmental Health Trust is calling on cell phone manufacturers and wireless providers to help fund research on how to treat and prevent exposure to radiation.
Tonight, an 8 on Your Side medical report. Breast cancer doesn't usually happen in young women, but a 23-year-old woman in Lancaster County developed the disease more than a year ago.
As medical reporter Susan Shapiro explained, she and her family are convinced it was caused by habit, a habit that she had for years.
We were going to the festival and won one of those sticks, and you were carrying around a blanket.
Tiffany France has had a rough year battling an aggressive type of breast cancer. She got the devastating diagnosis last January when she was just 21.
You don't think of yourself getting cancer that young, and especially breast cancer. And it just crushed me.
Hearing the diagnosis was tough. It was tough.
The young woman, who stands 5'2" and weighs just 100 pounds, underwent a mastectomy and 6 weeks of radiation. The treatment ended on August 21st when she rang the bell at Johns Hopkins Hospital, but the cancer has spread.
I have my whole life ahead of me, so it's not easy at all.
We have no explanation for it.
Dr. Randall Oyer of Lancaster General Health says breast cancer at such a young age is unheard of.
We don't see breast cancer at this age, and when we do, we have to ask some serious questions about what is going on.
One thing that was going on has Dr. Oyer concerned.
Hey.
For years, Tiffany kept her cell phone tucked under her bra. It's not an unusual safekeeping spot. There's even a bra sold online with a special cell phone pocket.
I kept it in my bra so that it was easy to feel on vibrate, it was easy to hear, it was closer to my ears and everything.
That area is exactly where the cancerous tumor showed up in her left breast.
I think there's a total link between her cell phone and her breast cancer.
There's no scientific literature about the possible link, but Dr. Oyer says he's now had 2 young patients with similar stories.
I think it's something that we need to be interested in, something that needs to be investigated further.
Tracy France is on a mission to get the word out to other young women about the possible link between cell phones and breast cancer. She put up this poster and these brochures here in the Millersville University Health Center.
I don't want any parent to have to see their child go through breast cancer because of a cell phone, a device that could possibly be causing this.
Tiffany still uses her cell phone quite a bit, but when she's not on it, it's in her purse.
If I miss a call because I don't hear it, I'll get back to them.
Susan Shapiro on your side, News 8.
A breast cancer surgeon in California, Dr. John West, is collecting data on the possible connection between cell phones and breast cancer. And cell phone makers do warn users to keep about a ½ inch away from your body.
I'm here with disturbing news about our favorite gadgets, cell phones, tablets, Wi-Fi, etc. Putting it bluntly, they are damaging the living cells in our bodies and killing many of us prematurely. I'm Dr. Martin Blank from the Department of Physiology and Cellular Biophysics at Columbia University. It is distressing for me and more than 160 colleagues who today are petitioning the United Nations requesting that they address this problem. We are scientists and engineers, and I am here to tell you we have created something that is harming us, and it is getting out of control. Before Edison's light bulb, there was very little electromagnetic radiation in our environment. The levels today are very many times higher than natural background levels and are growing rapidly because of all the new devices that emit this radiation. An example that a lot of us have in our pockets right now is the cell phone. One study shows that as cell phone usage has spread widely, the incidence of fatal brain cancer in younger people has more than tripled. We are putting cellular antennas on residential buildings and on top of hospitals where people are trying to get well. Wireless utility meters and cell towers are blanketing our neighborhoods with radiation. It's particularly frightening that radiation from our telecommunication and power line technology is damaging the DNA in our cells. It is clear to many biologists that this can account for the rising cancer rates. Future generations, our children, are at risk. These biologists and scientists are not being heard on the committees that set safety standards. The biological facts are being ignored, and as a result, the safety limits are much too high. They are not protective. More protection will probably result from full disclosure of possible conflicts of interest between regulators and industry. Rising exposure to electromagnetic radiation is a global problem. The World Health Organization and international standard-setting bodies are not acting to protect the public's health and well-being. International exposure guidelines for electromagnetic fields must be strengthened to reflect the reality of their impact on our bodies, and in particular, on our DNA. Although we are still in the midst of a great technological transformation, the time to deal with the harmful biological and health effects is long overdue. We are really all part of a large biological experiment without our informed consent. To protect our children, ourselves, and our ecosystem, we must reduce exposure by establishing more protective guidelines.
It is believed that everything in the world emits a frequency. These frequencies are in turn thought to be closely related to our well-being. Frequencies generated in the natural world can make us improve our mental and physical health, while others can negatively affect us.
The intensity of the radiation emitted by electromagnetic frequencies becomes harmful with a long exposure to the conveniences of everyday life. And these conveniences are Wi-Fi, mobile phones, TVs, air conditioners, and computers. Most of us are unaware of the long-term exposure to this harmful radiation that is affecting our children more than anybody else. The reason being is that their scalps are still forming, and therefore the intensity of such radiation penetrates the scalp and gets into the brain tissue, causing mutations that could be expressed from a single headache to autism and ending up with even brain tumors.
Nowadays, it seems impossible for us to get away from these silent killers. Years of research by JM Ocean Avenue suggest that alpha spin provides a possible solution to the health issues that come from exposure to EMF. Alpha spin, which is made in Germany, has passed a series of tests which ensure high product quality and showcases our product philosophy: restoration of natural energy through science and technology.
This is the Alpha Spin, a device that has been designed to counteract the effect of Wi-Fi, mobile phones, and computers. The effect meaning the radiation that is emitted by these devices that make our lives very easy to live, but very harmful to our bodies. The Alpha Spin was designed with nature in mind, so that it can protect us against the harmful effect of electromagnetic radiation emanating from the conveniences of modern appliances, such as Wi-Fi, computers, air conditioners, TVs, etc.
Alpha Spin can create a quantum energy field for your living environment and help you and your family to get far away from all the bad frequency and live a healthy life. As JM Ocean Avenue's newest scientific research achievement, Alpha Spin has obtained many certifications. A German authority has certified Alpha Spin to be radiation-free and food-grade acceptable. German Energy Testing Authority Prognos East Asia Distributor has certified that Alpha Spin can create a positive energy field to balance and harmonize body energy. In an environment which becomes more difficult every day, Alpha Spin can provide a healthier and safer life. Alpha Spin can protect you and your family from the harmful effects of radiation and EMF. In addition, Alpha Spin helps to harmonize the negative frequency and bring positive natural frequency to you and your family, making you healthy all the time.
We need to decide that between two things. Are we doing something about it or we just forgetting about it? Simple answer is please consider this device can protect you and your children.
JM Ocean Avenue has always been dedicated to bringing people better and healthier lives through advanced science and technology. Alpha Spin is the latest proof of this dedication. JM Ocean Avenue.